Justin Gaethje believes he could knock out current world champion Islam Makhachev. Says he'd have to fight the perfect fight. That sounds right to me. I don't see any hype on that. Do you guys? Justin Gaethje could knock out. I feel like I could stop you right there. You wouldn't know if I was going to put Jon Jones at the end of the sentence. Would it matter? Justin Gaethje could knock out, and we can just leave that one open. Yeah. Yeah. When he talks about fight the perfect fight, Nakama's got to stay on his feet. When a fighter comes out and says, I can knock this guy out, when he does it, when he calls a shot specifically, it could be I could submit him with a guillotine, whatever it is, but when he calls it specifically, as opposed to saying, I want the fight, I can beat him, the fighter has identified for us the one way that he believes he would have victory. Now, fighters go out and surprise themselves all the time. They think they're going to go to a decision. They find a submission. They go ahead and take it. I'm just sharing that Gaethje's really let us in on his mindset. He believes to beat Islam, he's going to have to knock him out. Another way of saying that is Islam's a better grappler than me. That's what Justin just said. And in exchange for that concession, he said, but I'm a more dangerous striker than he is. Interesting comment. Justin is in a very precarious position and always is. There's generally just two categories, guys. There's the guys in MMA that are playing the game. There's the guys that in MMA don't even know there's a game to be played. And you usually would fall into one of those two. And I could look at any situation. Like I look at Justin Gaethje, this is the top guy. Co-main eventer in his last performance, but it was on pay-per-view. Victory when he was the underdog. A fighter's fighter. What does John Anik say about Gaethje? Justin Gaethje is your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. It is such a true statement. The guys love him. The guys respect him. But I'll tell you what, it's because of that. He goes into a different category. It's not just, okay, here's your position. Here's what you need to do to go and get the world title fight if that's what you want. A lot of times it is. They give you a perfect recipe. Absolute perfect recipe. But Gaethje's in a unique spot. Nate Diaz lived his career and continues to be in a unique spot. Then it's just a deal that nobody else can get. And Gaethje's in that spot. Like, Gaethje is never the wrong answer for a world title fight. And there's some guys that are. Colby, to me, seems to be a very clear number one contender. There are people that pushed back. I mean, just to use an example for you. Justin Gaethje is not ranked as high as Colby. And if they announced Justin was going to fight for a world title, zero of our industry would push back. I've maintained for you for 6 years now, any question that you have at 155 pounds, the correct answer is Justin Gaethje. Any question, what should we do at? Who should we have at? Where should the backup guy be for? We want to do an Ultimate Fighter in this weight class. Who should we call? Any question you have at 155, you could insert a blanket answer of Justin Gaethje. I really believe that. But I don't know what he wants to do. See, that's the thing. We're not banding together to get Justin a world title fight, are we? But he hasn't made it clear that that's what he wants. I personally think it's interesting that Volk, Islam, and the IV have found a way to work that out. I personally think that that is very interesting. I am equally as interested in the fact that you don't. It's a miss by me. I would have thought when we put the pieces together of the IV information that died, unlike any other scandal in this sport, it died and died quick. The same period, same 24-hour period that it was announced that, hey, I will, in fact, put these two guys together if they win their next match. Islam being the champion of the world and not calling out anybody. I mean, I just think that that's interesting. Islam being the champion of the world and not getting called out by anybody. And I know what we all believe. Don't think that I'm missing a piece of this, because I have read some of your comments where you'll tell me, no, it's all of Aaron Tarouche. But we're saying that. That has never been official. That's us talking. We are declaring Dariush and Oliveira the number one contenders match, and that's what Islam's waiting for. I think we'll end up being right. I'm with you on that. And just telling you, that's never been said, not even by Islam. This is a totally different deal. If Islam's coming out and saying, well, I got to wait for this fight to go, he's never done that. Ali Abdelaziz has never come out and said, this is what they're doing. I just think that's interesting. I just think that's a little bit of a surprise. And now you have Gaethje mentioning his name, but not calling for the fight. And when you find Gaethje in these interesting positions, one thing that Justin did say, I never talked about it. I didn't want to make a piece on it. Quite frankly, I'm still in the direction that I don't want to, because I don't want it to happen. Is that Justin called for a fight with Dustin. Now, while their first fight is amongst the great fights ever, and their second fight would be amongst the great fights ever, they're not the same thing. If I was to ask you, if we get announced it's going to be Dustin versus Justin, and I ask you, why are they fighting? What is this for? What is the purpose? What is the significance of this fight? You're not going to have a goddamn thing to say back to me. But if I would have asked you that at their first fight, you'd have had a heck of an answer. Absolutely about contenderships. Absolutely about world championships. Absolutely about iron on top of iron. It can only be one of us. You got a will, I got a will. The audience must know who falls where. And they both look so good. They both went on and fought for world championships. Matter of fact, they both won world championships. They both went on and won world titles. I mean, it was really meaningful, but now it would just be about that's one heck of a fight. And what do you do if they split? What do you do if Justin wins? You go back, you do a rubber match between these guys? I mean, that's the kind of bludgeoning that changes your career. A more dramatic person would say it's the kind of bludgeoning that changes your life. And there's plenty of reason to do matches just like that if you have the ingredient of a contendership, of something on the line. Both of those guys qualify. Either one of those guys could step right in and fight for a world championship. Now that Charles is off the bill, soon as Islam won, it opened up opportunity for everybody, including them, but one of them would be eliminated. I mean, think about that. If those two went out and fought, which would be the war of wars for no reason, there would be, while I can't see the positive side of it, I don't see what the winner really gets, but I'll guarantee you, whoever comes in with the silver medal is out of talk, out of conversation for life, for a world title fight. That conversation would never come up again, ever. It would move you into a different category. That seems like a big risk when there's not an upside. For two guys that the world's not trying to get you fight. The pros are not even trying to get you fight. You're going out to the media and attempting to build it from scratch. I don't want to see him fight. I just don't. While I admit for you, those are two juggernauts and it would be an amazing contest. So, where does Justin Gaethje go? Is there a reason? Is there a reason that Justin talked about Islam but didn't go the further step to say that he wanted the fight? He didn't the step to call him out. Yeah, there is. Justin knows. Justin knows what I suggest to be true, which is that a deal was made. A deal was made as a resolution for the information with the nurse as it pertains to the IV that Dan Hooker brought to the world. That is why that went away. That is why that went quiet. The deal is zip it. Go do this, put you back in there. We all good? All right, we're good. And Justin knows it, which is why he's not calling for it. I think that's fascinating. I just don't know why you don't.